This video is intended to describe in depth a lightblade set in both talisman and wand format, both named Abiding in the Self Divine Love. Since this is a miniaturized version of this larger wand platform, many of the aspects of the descriptions will be done in tandem as much as possible to, of course, keep this narrative as concise as absolutely possible. But I'll go ahead and also discuss the aspects of the scaffolding, the blade band. But first of all, this will be, of course, my well-utilized, well-loved crude chakra map to serve as a visual guide to the stimulation points described through the entire video. So I'll be referencing this quite a bit through this entire tour. Alrighty, without further ado, I'll discuss the lightblade scaffolding in both devices in tandem. Starting off with the transmutation ratio, found both here and here in exactly the same ignition sequence. The transmutation ratio, consisting of hematite and smoky quartz, works as the foundation grounding platform for all this etheric energy discussed, which will be quite the in-depth, vast tour as can be seen thus far. Pretty self-evident when I say that. So having a purification grounding scaffolding is quite of the essence to tangibilize and most importantly ground all the excess energy into the Earth Meridian Matrix for reprocessing, aka take all the excess energy and give a safe bypass ground to Mother Earth to have many advantageous purposes of most importantly, of course, ground all this energy as well as make it tangible, make the magic real, if you would. And as well as being a way to, of course, be a natural purification with the Earth Meridian Matrix in tandem with the human auric field to make a very strong two-way ground transmutation point to transmute negativity into positivity by high arc grounding of this energy into Mother Earth for reprocessing. And how that's accomplished with the transmutation ratio, with once again the hematite and smoke quartz. Hematite is a strong iron-based mineral that has a very strong grounding of excess energy through the root into the Earth stars and into the Earth Meridian Matrix reprocessing. In tandem with smoky quartz does, of course, the same exact pathway job, where it purifies all excess energy and grounds it through the field of the Earth, and making a transmutation ratio. And as a joke to refer to, it's actually pretty relevant, is the aspect of it being etheric Teflon. So when you have like this strong, powerful grounding point for any other excess energy high frequency to ground through, make a safe contact patch, which I consider to be rather critical in any metaphysical endeavor, obviously. It also produces a very strong insulation to the energy field too, to quickly, of course, transmute energy very rapidly through the systems. So you can think of it like I sent etheric Teflon to make a very strong ground bypass for an impeccable auric field, in theory, in practice. So that'd be just the transmutation ratio, which is found on the talisman going like so, up the side over here to this lateral band, reconnecting in this circuit of the transmutation ratio. And on the wand, of course, you can see the main engine section has a very strong band to contain, ground and circulate the energy, as well as it goes up the handle on both sides to this lateral band, then recirculates down here and to this lateral band, grounded it all into it. So it's basically a perpetual figure eight of energy current running through the grounding pathways for the rest of these frequencies discussed starting now. So the primary blade band focus of both these devices in tandem would be, actually for the wand, there is a little bit of clear quartz going ignition sequence, be a neutral accelerant, as well as be a very streamlined way to complete the current towards this first lateral band, seen on both sides here. Not present in the talisman since I was able to go straight into golden healer quartz, found right here. Golden healer quartz is an amazing gold-white light frequency Christ emanation alignment or connection to creation source energy. So its utilization in a subcapacitation circuit is pretty exceptional for bringing the source into sorcery, if you would. I do like my puns and jokes, so bear with me. So the aspect also of golden healer quartz working as a subcapacitation for morganite, seen both here and here. Morganite is actually pink emerald, which of course is a pink ray high heart stimulant, yet it's the aspect of a familiarity with the beryl family of aquamarine, emerald, and heliodor, oftentimes found in the 8.5 out of 10 the hardness scale, which means its atomical structure is a little denser and more intense than your typical rose quartz found right here, for example, which of course is another aspect that's part of the circuit, which will do my best not to digress as much as possible to keep it as streamlined and coherent as possible. Obviously, there's a lot of components to discuss, so looking at them right here off the cuff of quantifying and keeping it streamlined as possible and linear is quite the endeavor, to put it lightly. So, pardon my digression. I oftentimes have my little commentaries in these videos. Back to Morganite. So the Morganite found here and here is a very, very powerful rendition of pink ray. So when you subcapacitate the golden healer quartz with the impeccable, strong pink ray in the mineral kingdom of Morganite, pink emerald, it makes a very, very powerful, high-intensive, high-heart source divine love activation, which is a very, very powerful combination sequence. Actually, surprisingly, this is the first rendition of utilizing the subcapacitation of golden healer quartz and Morganite, and I've found it to be a rather intensive divine love generator combination sequence, which may become a whole new standard platform. So this divine love, which I'll call for short, may actually serve as a prototype for a whole nother version of a pink ray weaponized love platform that could be quite advantageous in the hands of many light wielders. Anyhow, that's my little commentary on like this discovery of this ignition sequence in tandem that's been pretty prominent and a very, I guess you could say, a boon to the progression of R&D for the light tech endeavors. Anyhow, so of course that primary blade band focus of both these devices recirculate into the transportation band, of course, to ground this excess high frequency source love energy into the circuitry to most importantly ground it. And found on the talisman, the apex band where the necklace actually will go into right there, was the utilization of peridot and clear quartz. Clear quartz, of course, works as a lovely neutral subcapacitator of other frequencies, which I will reference many times in this video. But peridot is a very lovely third and fourth stimulant, an impeccable, I guess you could say, analog frequency of the broadcast of chlorophyll. So growth and expansion and positivity are very much the highlights of the context of this green nugget of positive power called peridot, which of course will be found over here, which I will eventually get into in great detail, but I will probably omit the rest of the narrative of the peridot in this to save time. But back to the aspect too of having the peridot on the wearable talisman, which of course is a wearable passive format frequency generator, which will be relatively easy to wear on the person, particularly in practicing endeavors, kind of like work gear, I guess you could say, oftentimes how it works out. So the peridot works very fantastic with the natural high heart source activation to bring more tangibilized transference to the green ray ratio of the physical heart chakra capacities. Then the fourth aspect of peridot makes a very lovely abundance and increase in all manners. Fiscally, financially, love, all those things like that nature is a very tremendous increase of positive energy. So peridot is excellent to utilize in any kind of given light tech circuit. So that'd be the blade band scaffolding entirety of this talisman, as well as the primary blade band scaffolding of this guy discussed thus far. So I'll go ahead and get into the main engine section over here, which will actually have complementary tandem frequency features found here. So I'll do my best to, of course, describe them in tandem. Since this, once again, this is a baby version of this guy, that will be a wearable version, and of course, since they're of the same vibratory platform projection, they're much like a synergistic pair where they ping off each other like satellites or like a Bluetooth accessory for a smartphone with a speaker, for example. That kind of concept applies here for full analogy explanation. Alrighty. And certain elements of the blade facing here are found on the blade as well as a wand format. So I'll do my best to, of course, like keep it consolidated, which will, like I said, will be the endeavor to keep it complete, coherent, and linear. Oh yes, I love my digressions. Okay. So I guess I'll start with the star argonite found right here, which is a tremendous master healer of the mineral kingdom. Being a calcium-based star formation makes a very powerful stimulation through the entire chakra column and the full light body. So it rapidly clears based on the calcium aspects to The physical body and the light body, any impediments impeding the two from perfect harmony, so to speak, actually rapidly get expanded, bridged, and cleared in a very gentle, safe clearing capacity. So the criticality of utilizing this master healer next to the main engine, if you would, is of the essence for a very successful device of theurgy. Anyhow. Me and my words. Anyhows. Okay. So Star Argonite, like I mentioned, is a full light body stone from the Earth stars to the Soul Star. It makes a full expansion, so any kind of light body impediments get rapidly cleared, dismantled, and purified to actual factory settings in God's Dharmic blueprint connection, so to speak. So a very useful frequency broadcaster for any practitioner, obviously to have in a background frequency on tap. Then found right here at the very apex between this guy and this guy is a small little piece of spectralite, which is a more white ray variety of labradorite. That's his trade name, is spectralite. Spectralite, labradorite, is a very powerful wind stimulant, third eye activator, as well as being a very powerful induction of impulses of magic increased, or basically putting one's conscious self in connection with their latent magic capacities. So even a small dose found right there goes a long way in a closed loop reactive circuit. Which can be said for many of these frequencies, even in smaller doses in both these devices, that since they're grounded to a primary ground, completing a very reactive energy circuit, even the smallest dose will of course be part of the vibrational compound interest to make a full vibratory cohesion. So this right here is the lovely Lumerian clear quartz, and to be a complementary tandem as a smaller device, is a lovely piece of clear quartz to be the main engine, if you would, for this entire device, to be a neutral program carrier for the rest of the current through the entire apparatus. Which, of course, is under the jurisdiction of the wielder of both these clear quartz to, of course, imprint prayers, intentions through the entire vibratory output, which is in connection with their higher self matrix. So that'll be the main heart of both devices, seen right there. Then down here, the primary sub-engine, if you would be golden healer quartz point and a very large piece to be a very overt source energy emanation that of course works in tandem with the pre-mentioned golden healer quartz seen right here. So getting a very strong dose of that impeccable gold white light Christ source connection creation was of the essence to make a device that's truly going to honor the aspect of abiding in the self with divine love, or just divine love. That's the whole point. So having the heavy concentration of that frequency through the entire matrix was of the essence to make that source love connection in the most obvious aspect of this entire frequency broadcast. Okie dokie. So then found right here is a lovely purple ray dharmic stimulant named charite, which is a fantastic purple ray wind elemental stone from Russia that makes it very obviously a third eye crown purple ray stimulation. Yet it has a very strong grounding contact patch. It actually has dendritic inclusions in it, which has a strong grounding capacity. You can't really see in this video, but there's black in this guy. That makes a very strong grounding of the earth stars. So, of course, having the full illumination of the higher chakras, particularly the soul star, grounding through the system, can be considered a very tremendous dharmic accelerant in tangibility. Okay. Then I will discuss the agate and jasper combination and sequence, since they're very relevant and ping off each other for a very critical role for the functionality of this device. I'll start off with the red jasper, which is the most stabilized variety of the root chakra, red ray. Then going into fire agate to stabilize the root, the sacrum, and the solar plexus, carrying the impeccable stabilized fire energy for the lower three chakras. Then going into moss green agate, which is an impeccable fourth chakra water stabilizer of the green ray heart chakra. Then going into blue lace agate, which stabilizes the fifth chakra and a water elemental stone as well. Then into the lovely, rare, legendary Holly Blue Agate, which is only from one mine in northern Oregon and was praised by the indigenous tribes as a stone of heaven for quite a long time. It's actually a purple agate, which means it makes a lovely stabilization of the 6th and 7th chakras, thereby containing the unified stabilization of earth, fire, water, and wind as a very prominent foundation of this device. Also found in tandem on this guy is once again the red jasper, the blue lace agate, the moss green agate, fire agate, and holly blue agate again to make a perfect stabilized mimicking of earth, fire, water, wind. Alrighty. So that, of course, is very evidently very powerful and potent to stabilize the entire elemental spectrums of the entire grasp of the elements in the 4 standard spectrums. Not to mention the 5th element of love is the heaviest concentration. So, of course, you could think of everything in moderation except for love. I guess it was just discovered that right now. That's very much an homage of this device in a nutshell. Then above the holly blue agate and the red jasper is a lovely lithium-based clear ray stone named petalite, which is a very fantastic soother of the mind to the higher witness self divine perspective, which is a very advantageous state to actually be abiding in the self. So obviously with the archetypal name, the crystalline ignition order is designed to honor that exact resonance that spoke to the recipient who commissioned this device. And so with God-given grace and obsessive R&D, I do my best, of course, as Chris, to answer these requests through a vibratory platform. Alrighty. Then right here, I'll flip it over to discuss that part. This right here is a smoky celestial quartz. Of course, the smoky resonant frequency broadcast discussed like this in the transmutation sequence of both devices has been well covered. So it makes a very strong grounding, purifying frequency. Yet, the celestial format makes a very special resonance with the auric field to be an auto-regulator based on like an obvious higher self governance, where it connects to the idyllic blueprint of the higher self, as well as makes a very powerful auto-regulation of the entire frequency broadcast of this device. So it's obviously a rather complex aspect to discuss in these light blades, is the functionality of having a, I guess you could say, divinely inspired governor to regulate the energy based on reactional requirements that the recipient finds themselves in as a practitioner. So of course that can be simplified in the concept of, for example, watching a movie. This is designed to kind of slow down the entire vibratory pitch for the recipient's highest good. Though if they're practicing, of course, amp it up for the proper requirements for the entire collective field they're in service to. It's a rather meta concept to get into, so I'll probably cut it a little more short, but in summary, this is a very critical functional device to auto-regulate the frequency for the highest good in alignment with their divine blueprint, to put it quite succinctly. Okay, so this right here is black obsidian, actually from Glass Mountain here in the Shasta area. There's a whole mountain range actually of black obsidian that is just there. So I was there recently and acquired this piece, and of course it felt like it fit perfectly. Wanted to go in there right there, and so that's also why this is a aspect to make a purification ground, just like a black gray stone of transmutation, to ground and insulate and basically dismantle any kind of energy hooks to have a constant grounding bypass. Then right here is the lovely kunzite, another pink ray of high utilization. It's a very soothing pink ray aspect based on its lithium construct, being a very soothing energy of the high heart chakra of divine love. So it's very much a good like peacemaker, negotiator frequency in a lot of ways to have such a soothing, calming love generation, pink ray divine promoting of love energy, quite simply. So even a small dose right here goes a long way into the entire vibratory output of the heavy pink ray focus with the gold white light in tandem. Then right here is a lovely specimen of ocean tumbled calcite I actually acquired myself on the Oregon coast. So calcite of the white ray makes a lovely clearing pattern of the entire chakra column based on 7 rays. Yet This specimen right here, of course, was tumbled by the ocean for perhaps thousands of years. I couldn't tell you, only God knows. But the whole point about that is that it was literally tumbled by the waves of the ocean, which means the oceanic clearing imprintation, it would be very hard to get out of this stone since it was literally shaped by perhaps eons by the ocean. So that's pretty awesome and self-evident. Next to that is the lovely Sedona red rock, which of course I actually gathered myself when I was there last, to be a very strong iron-based grounding vortice point for this entire structure, as well as it comes from a particular section between Courthouse Mesa as well as Bell Rock that I consider to be one of the most powerful epicenter vortices in the Red Rock area of Sedona. So that's a little fun fact, as well as being a very strong grounder of excess energy. Then, to keep the lower three stabilized and strengthened for all this subroutine of high frequency energy, is a lovely piece of Tiger's Eye. Tiger's Eye takes the base, sacrum, and solar plexus and it stimulates but actually aligns them in an impeccable manner. Hence, the utilization right here is impeccable to keep the lower three strengthened to, of course, wield this much divine magic. And to further strengthen these aspects right here is the lovely ruby and zoisite, also found right here. Ruby and zoisite is a fantastic natural synergistic combination of course, ruby, the king of the red ray of precious stones, mineral kingdom. 9 out of 10 in the hardness scale oftentimes, sometimes even harder, found. But it has a very intensive atomical stimulation to the red ray root chakra and basically unsurpassed in the mineral kingdom for its vibrancy. So having that zest for life intensive root chakra activation is a very powerful disposition to intensify the grounded base chakra to a high zesty yield. Then when you take the natural combination of the zoisite, which is actually from South Africa, it is a very powerful combination of the heart and mind coherence, is the governance of zoisite. So it makes a very impeccable heart-mind coherence linkage. When you take the trifecta of the ruby to, of course, stimulate the root to a high octave, then the heart-mind coherence, that's truly the dynamic pattern to bring a very strong heart-mind grounding for rapid transitions into the Dharmic self. Like I mentioned, even a small dose goes a long way in a complementary frequency structure. Then right here is black tektite, also found over here, buried down here. Black tektite is oftentimes the result of nickel iron meteorite impacting sand to contain the cosmic jolt of heat and pressure to basically make space obsidian. So it has a very strong extraterrestrial boost through the entire structure of a tektite vibration, which of course is advantageous for the black ray Earth star Kundalini full light body activation for the entire chakra column, particularly from a root up kind of way. So that makes a very lovely staple for any light tech actually, is to bring like a very strong cosmic boost from the Earth stars, the chakras beneath your feet, all the way up to the soul star. So it's a great another frequency antithesis to get more out of the structure. And to, of course, soothe out that aspect, which is rather critical, is a little piece of Larimar. Larimar is a fantastic stimulant to the 5th and 6th chakras and brings a very powerful high truth oasis of calm generation, very soothing to the mind and soothing to the heart and very much an oasis of calm generator of truth. So there's Larimar. Then right here is the lovely Mount Shasta serpentine, actually from my backyard. Serpentine's a fantastic Kundalini stimulant to, of course, stimulate the serpentine energy of the Kundalini, and it's also a fantastic cellular respiration frequency. Then next to that guy right there would be fulgurite. Fulgurite is actually petrified lightning, that is when sand was struck by lightning to carry the energy of lightning. So, fulgurite is a very intensive light body stimulant to the entire chakra column because it literally mimics the frequency of the flash of lightning. So, it was utilized by First Nation tribes for millennia to intensify one's prayers back to source or spirit for the medicine men and medicine women of the tribes. So, of course, having the frequency of lightning intensifies all aspects of the prayers of manifestation, for example, particularly in union with divine will. So that's a fun little boost to the entire system, as well as it's a very strong, full physical energy stimulant, since it is like a current of lightning being circulated through the entire subroutine. Then this guy right here is a very special stone named Prophecy Stone. It's a pseudomorphite, which means it has a very special, strange formation, and it is actually found in the same spot where Libyan gold tektite is found, which I'll get into eventually as the time comes, found right here as well. Libyan gold tektite is a tremendous stone, which I have to, of course, once again, regulate that aspect, but keep in mind that this is found in the same spot where Libyan gold tektite is found, and the man who found it actually coined it Prophecy Stone, for he was out there in the Libyan desert remotely, touched a piece, and had a full-blown intensive prophetic vision, hence it got its name. So the fun fact about Prophecy Stone as well, why I mentioned Libyan gold tektite in tandem, is that Libyan gold tektite is also called Libyan desert sandglass because the scientific jury is actually still out on exactly its formation. Yet this strange meteoric looking frequency metal was found in the area, which may just possibly be the mother stone of Libyan gold tektite. And by itself, it has a very intensive high frequency stimulation, yet it has aspects of metal, but there's certain aspects that actually are not represented on our periodic table, which means this is basically space metal of some kind, which gives a very intensive high frequency grounding of light through the physical body, since the metallic aspect makes a strong ground point. So a very fascinating curiosity of a frequency that's very well utilized in all light tech, as well as another tremendous boost of tangibilizing light and grounding through the system. So I believe that would actually just be the main engine section discussed thus far. Okay, that would be it. And real quick, to also catch up on the talisman's description, here's another piece of kunzite found right here, which is once again a lithium-based soothing, divine love, high heart generator that brings great calm to the heart. So a very effective frequency for, of course, this entire platform to be complementary. Oh yeah. Oh yes. And also, at the very apex of this talisman, I also installed a bolt of fulgurite to the primary wire to, of course, get more of that intensive light body jolt of energy throughout the entire structure. Okay, so I guess I'm moving on to the wand, and we'll be, of course, describing this in tandem from this point forward. Like previously mentioned, the transmutation circuit runs up this entire handle section, which is I consider the hand bands, but it's also running on a brass and silver polarity to be a yin and yang opposite engagement of the exact same frequency. So you have more of a receptive and projective discharge and ground of that entirety to, of course, have the intensification of the reception as well as the projection to have a strong ground point and purification. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get into this primary thumb engagement on the wand, which will have sharing components with these guys right here. Okay, so I'll discuss the foundation of the thumb engagement. Actually, I'm going to use this prop to have it set up straight for this. Okay. Oh. Come on. Behave. Okay, again, get the focus correct. Okay, so, like mentioned in the talisman variety, Libyan gold tektite is found in the core right here on both these devices. Libyan gold tektite is a lesser known gold ray cousin to the frequency of moldavite, which has gained quite a bit of notoriety in this timeline, which of course I'll discuss in turn. But Libyan gold tektite I consider to be tremendously, almost criminally underutilized and underrated, and also I guess unknown for any given crystal enthusiast / practitioner. Libyan gold tektite has a tremendous stimulation to the sacrum and solar plexus in tandem, so it virtually has a unrivaled divine fire capacity, I would say, in the mineral kingdom. Hence, it's one of my top 5 favorite stones. and also makes a very strong fire and stormful stimulation. So with that highlighted the intensification of the solar plexus found in Libyan gold tektite, it makes a very intensive strengthening of one's will, particularly in connection to divine will, and also makes a very powerful manifestation stimulant. And was utilized by the pharaoh caste of old to actually find these pieces in remote desert of Libya and bring them back to the magical craftsmen of the day and have them carved into scarab beetles to be the central power pieces of their regalia, breastplate, energy power devices they'd wear, which was part of being a badge of their office. So a very powerful mystical god king of old, or god queen of old, you could say, energy of old, is very much found in these specimens of Libyan gold tektite. Very powerful, potent stuff. And once again, criminally underrated and unknown for now. Perhaps they will, of course, get the notoriety they deserve in amongst lightworkers. We'll see. Okay. So in this thumb engagement, there's also a lovely piece of the morganite found in a very lovely specimen, which of course is the same frequency as this guy right here, which is a primary blade banding. But having a nice concentrated dose of morganite on the thumb engagement was a very, very advantageous way to have the focus when the thumb is engaged on the pink ray of love and one of the strongest varieties in the mineral kingdom of morganite. Then, right here is the infamous moldavite. So, as a quick little preface before I discuss this guy that's gained quite a bit of infamy in this timeline, this entire apparatus setup with the stabilizers and the transmutation blade band is designed, of course, to get that cosmic jolt engaged into the circuitry found right here and here, and also to mitigate the growing pains that are associated with moldavite as one's Dharmic template manifests into its complete tangibility. So how moldavite gets a pretty bad rap in this day and age, of course, and getting blamed for ruining people's lives, is that it's such an aggressive kick in the cosmic pants that it produces a tremendous green ray source activation that's so volatile to rapidly transition one's internal world and external world into the higher self Dharma configuration, fully manifest, which obliterates the false self matrices of divisitory constructs that keep one from creator, essentially. So that's how it can be a rather volatile alchemical crucible in a frequency. But like I mentioned, the big idea is get that synchronistic, powerful boost to one's divine source energy while mitigating the growing pains is the prerogative of these devices and using these guys in small concentration, basically. But yes, moldavite is a tremendous stone of synchronicity, magic, and one's highest self blueprint fully realized in tangible conscious self-awareness. So, even small doses of this green ray wonder of the mineral kingdom of great magic and mystery go a very long way through the entire circuitry of this device. Okay. And to further stabilize the fifth chakra of one's highest truth for this entire thumb engagement that was designed to do just like that, is the utilization of the turquoise. Turquoise, of course, is a favorite of millions for thousands of years. For a good reason. It's of course beautiful and has a very strong soothing stimulation to the fifth chakra based on the aspects of earth, fire, water, and wind in the fifth ray focus. You can consider that a tremendous stone of wholeness, as well as a nice pranic physical energy generator from a soothing filter. Then going into clear quartz to be a neutral acceleration of this circuit is another stone that is a favorite of millions for thousands of years, is the great lapis lazuli, the quintessential famous stone of ancient Egyptian magic school utilization, and it definitely has a good reputation for a good purpose as far as I'm concerned, as being a very powerful wind stimulant of the fifth and sixth chakra to, of course, bring one's highest conscious self into the divine wisdom of their soul archives, into conscious awareness. So that's, of course, a great stone for any aspects of the cities, psychic gifts, latent psychic capacities, insight, as well as one's soul wisdom at the forefront of their truth. So of course, that had to be there. Going into clear quartz, then into white blue hemimorphite. Another stone I consider criminally underrated for utilization for light worker. White blue hemimorphite is a very incredible stimulant to the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th non-physical soul star chakra, producing a very, very powerful, full, impeccable heart-mind coherence bypass to put one's heart vibration into direct conscious self-connection, which serves as a very advantageous platform to have one's highest divine truth in conscious understanding through the heart, through the fifth chakra, of course, to speak this impeccable truth, then, of course, to have the insights of the highest truth in connection to the divine blueprint. So even a small dose of this circuit goes a long way for the impeccable heart-mind coherence, which is very, very much the aspect of achieving the goal of abiding in the self, divine love. So that would just be the thumb engagement. Go ahead and drop it off its little Ark of the Covenant prop and start discussing more of the blade facing. Okay, Dougie. This is where I get these guys in tandem as well. So this right here is white scoicite. Scoicite is an incredible 6th and 7th wind elemental, 8th higher self, all the way back to the Godhead, non-physical chakra stimulant. That's a tremendous calmer of the mind and in witness to the divine presence. So it's a very amazing, soothing frequency of divinity that is truly incredible for this application to, of course, encourage that impeccable abiding in the self frequency. So scoicite, an amazing white ray stone of divinity, as well as on a physical level, has fantastic stimulation to the proper brain chemistry of the serotonin levels, for example, and things of that nature. So it's tremendously effective white ray divine frequency generator is scoicite. Okay. Then right here is the lovely purple lepidolite. So obviously the blade facing is made as seamless as possible and streamlined and balanced to be as complementary in tandem as physically possible. Lepidolite is an incredible lithium potassium based frequency broadcaster that actually is a water elemental purple ray frequency, which brings extreme soothing and calming to the physical body. So that aspect is a very, very powerful disposition to slow down the ego-mind identity to proper divine receptivity, to keep one, of course, to abide in the self, in divine love. So lepidolite is an incredible soothing frequency broadcast utilized for that purpose. Then found right here, and here, and here, and even actually on this guy as well, found right here, get the focus right, is prehnite. Prehnite is an incredible 3rd and 4th stimulant that is of the earth and water frequencies. So prehnite is an incredible soother to excess energy by grounding it and bringing extreme nourishing and calming to the heart chakra, and is a very tremendous frequency for the sensations of impulses of magic and vibrations through creation, since it broadcasts the heart chakra in a very special way to put one in touch with one's spiritual capacities, as well as, in my humble opinion, being the most direct analog frequency to the great green ray healer, the Raphael force, Raphael the Archangel. And so having a natural dose frequency resonant alignment with that great healing force goes a very tremendously long way. Then above that, to further back that theme, is the lovely seraphinite. Seraphinite is an incredible metaphysical utilized frequency named after the seraphim archangels, and obviously it's a green ray frequency that has a natural heart chakra stimulant, yet seraphinite stimulates the entire chakra column in unison. And just like the master healer mentioned down here, which works great in tandem with it, by the way, the star argonite, it works to clear any patterns of dis-ease from the physical, non-physical centers manifesting as an illness, so to speak, and is perhaps one of the most premier master healer frequencies of this age. So, of course, utilizing it in a circuit goes a very long way as well. And seraphinite works to rapidly engage high-frequency kundalini and dismantling patterns that no longer serve, like I mentioned, with patterns of dis-ease from the entire chakra column, from top to bottom and vice versa. So it's a very powerful full light body stimulant and clearer of any kind of outmodeled patterns that would be not of one's highest dharmic blueprint. And then back here is the lovely shungite, seen over here, quite in vogue in this timeline based on its notoriety to successfully mitigate any kind of 5G harmful radiation waves of this timeline that are man-made artificial broadcasts that can hurt the subtle DNA of the auric field, or the cellular structure for that matter. And so shungite is a fantastic carbon-based black-gray resonance, which of course works like other black-gray stones to make strong ground transmutation, yet it works like a charcoal filter to dramatically purify any negativity into positivity, kind of like the process of carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide. And also, shungite is found on the talisman here and here at 2 points to be an obvious strong foundation of this entire device. So shungite, of course, is carbon-based, since we're carbon-based resonance of our physical avatars, that it makes a fantastic resonance to purify the entirety of the human avatar structure physically. So, obviously, like I've mentioned many times before, having this grounded to a reactive circuit goes a very long way for vibrational compound interest, developing a stable cohesion. Okay. Then, oftentimes I save this part for last intentionally to be a kind of a capstone of the description of discussing the selenite on both these structures. And also, very special, at the behest of the recipient of this device, I was asked to carve I am that I am, which is found on all 4 sides of the core of the selenite. I am that I am. I am that I am. To, of course, be a tremendous homage to the purpose of this device to abide in the self, divine love. So that's a little fun fact about this guy. But back on topic, so the aspect of selenite has a tremendous role in any given spirit tool. So I'll discuss the aspects of selenite first as a strong stimulant to the 6th, 7th, 8th, all the non-physical chakras back to one's Godhead, higher self configuration to make a conscious two-way connection door to the higher self consciousness, as well as purify any densities in the auric field that be naturally compromising the natural healthy flow of a well-functioning auric field. But where it really truly shines, as far as I'm concerned, any given successful spirit tool, is the aspect of taking all the stones mentioned thus far in this 42 minutes and taking that aspect and through the circuitry, purifying the entire frequency of the entire pitch of these devices. Then it takes it and also harmonizes the entirety of these stones mentioned thus far. Then it amplifies all of them. So when you take the trifecta of purifying the entire frequency pitch, then harmonizing all of them together, then amplifying them together, that's truly a trifecta for tangible spiritual significance in a vibratory device. So of course they are an absolute staple of light tech in general. So that's the aspect I like to discuss very last, is to take the concept of all these frequencies in a closed loop circuit, once again, purified, harmonized, and accelerated in that trifecta. So pretty tremendous utilization. So I love that part of these videos. Then before I move on to the rest of these blade configuration descriptions, I will discuss this guy down here, which is a lovely piece of Tibetan black quartz. Tibetan black quartz is another one of those full light body master healers of the mineral kingdom that has a very strong activation of the Earth stars, chakras beneath the feet, into the Earth meridian matrix, and the Soul star and the crown in tandem. So it's one of those powerful two-way stimulants based on its aspect of being from Tibet and having what they guess to be carbon inclusions inside a clear quartz structure, which apparently also science has yet to quite quantify the black aspects of the carbon, what I guess should be kind of a carbon ray induction inside the Tibetan black quartz, which gives it a very mysterious energy, obviously. And naturally, it comes from Tibet, Tibetan black quartz, and is a very powerful place in the planet. It has had a discipline of spiritual work unsurpassed almost any region in the entire Earth for millennia. So, having the natural imprintation of that home vibe, home center of the world, if you would, is a very powerful aspect of powerful Om source resonant connection. It also works as a very powerful transmutation, kind of like a psychic shield, if you would, as well. So another layer of tremendous purification and ohm resonance connection to creation. So it's a very tremendous frequency to have right here placed on the back of the selenite to run the termination sequence to, of course, circulate through the entire broadcast. Which leads me to the other end of the selenite, right here, to a very special little subsection. So this right here is rutilated quartz. Rutilated quartz is, of course, quartz with bands of rutile, titanium oxide in the structure. Yet even this rutilated quartz actually has red rutile inside of it. So rutilated quartz naturally works with a very intensive amplification of any other frequency running in termination. So you can think of it as a supercharger for the entire frequency broadcast, yet the red bands actually have a very strong red root ray chakra connotation that dramatically actually grounds the intensity of that focus through the body more on a physical level, opposed to the silver or gold varieties of rutilated quartz. It's a very special feature that's definitely noteworthy in this whole composition, is that the red rutile, of course, takes this frequency and directs its supercharged capacity more in a grounded, tangibilized cellular structure red ray reaction. That's kind of nice. Then to super accelerate together is Herkimer diamond. So Herkimer diamond is another tremendous accelerant of any other frequency through it, as well as being a very impeccable higher chakra activator of crystalline light. Yet when you combine the two of Herkimer diamond with rutilated quartz together and they amplify each other in a circuit, it's a tremendous threshold of energy being produced in tandem with everything else discussed thus far. So that's why they're at the apex, as well as being terminated directly to the end of the selenite. So of course the striation of selenites direct the current, then recirculates it into the blade band to basically produce a figure 8. Then right here underneath the rutilated quartz and next to the Herkimer diamond is a very special little piece that has a great function right here, which is tanzanite. I'll flip it over, see if you can see better from over here. Okay, perfect. That would be tanzanite. So tanzanite is actually a variety of blue zoisite, yet its trade name was coined by Tiffany Co. back in the 60s, I believe it was, to name it after Tanzania, Africa, where it's from, and it is a very tremendous, beautiful blue ray frequency. So tanzanite is a very, very incredibly effective 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th chakra stimulant. So just like the white blue hemimorphite, it has one of the more impeccable resonant frequencies of the impeccable heart-mind coherence in the full higher force scaffolding. So that aspect goes a long way for any practitioner to speak with all the elegance the mind can conjecture in tandem with the fish chakra of all the heart-centered love capacity. So that brings a very highlighted intensive focus of one's spiritual wisdom overlaid into the conscious self operating system. So that's why even a small dose between this really intensive rutilated quartz Herkimer diamond circuit really dramatically intensifies the entire broadcast through the entire closed loop reactive circuit. Okay. Real quick, did I forget anybody on here? Oh, okay. One thing I did forget is a small piece of Peruvian turquoise found right here, much like this guy right here, to once again bring a very strong fish chakra stimulant. And that actually would be the entirety of this talisman described, except for the wood core, which is oak, found from my backyard, which is of course in tandem with this oak as well, that comes right from my lovely backyard here in Mount Shasta. Locally, organically sourced. So that would be the entirety of this lovely little talisman described, besides the aspect of the kyanites. Okay. So this aspect, of course, I oftentimes say for last as well, because it takes more of the whole entire concept mentioned thus far in this 48 minutes and puts it into more of a transferable, practical, pragmatic aspect. So, seen right here is black kyanite. Seen right here and here, black kyanite rapidly bridges energy very quickly through the black ray Earth stars into the Earth meridian matrix, which makes it another aspect of being a very vibrationally autoreactive ground point to consistently generate and direct the current to a very strong grounding ratio on both these devices. Then orange kyanite, found right here and here, makes a very strong sacral stimulation to the highest octave in connection to one's spiritual blueprint, to basically have the passion and imagination of one's divinity, of course, rapidly transferred through reality, of course, to the conscious self. Then green kyanite is a very powerful bridger stimulant as well for obviously the green ray heart chakra zone of rapid transfers of energy back to one's direct blueprint. Then blue kyanite, seen like so, makes a very quick transference of the third eye chakra or the aspects of the left and right hemispheres of the neural pathways in the ideal configuration, aka the awakened third eye. So the aspect of having the blue kyanite rapidly transfers energy of one's higher self blueprint into the conscious self as well. So when you take the 4 spectrums easily available to me of kyanite, it takes the entirety of these frequencies mentioned. It makes a very rapid transference in all spectrums and a very rapid auto-regulation buffering of the ideal configuration, always in flux, to basically designed to always keep one's auric field in perfect perpetual momentum energy in connection with their divine creation source configuration at a very reactive rate. So you can think of that also being another layer of etheric Teflon to rapidly transfer and buffer and diffuse energies as required by the highest good of one's higher self contact patch in connection to their spiritual essence and grounded to earth. Basically, the Holy Grail manifest is kind of the goal there. So, and to focalize all this energy, to give it a nice focus right there, is the utilization of titanium auric quartz, which is actually a man-made alchemized frequency, which I utilize quite often for its sheer effectivity. Titanium, pressure-coated onto clear quartz, brings a very strong strengthening energy through the entire auric field, or the entire rainbow light body stimulation simultaneously from, once again, top to bottom, one of those full light body stimulants, and also brings an extreme focus of energy of strength. So naturally utilizing that frequency to focus the energy makes a very strong beam of this excess energy of this figure 8 to ground into the primal wire to give an energetic focus, a broadcast, a focus. Yeah. I'll give it the kind of like the crosshairs, if you would. So that's why they're utilized for many purposes, and for many years I've been utilizing that frequency particularly for these guys to focus the energy for more than 10 years now, actually. Like, I think about it, and it's been a very big staple of all light blades, no matter what generation or variation, based on its strengthening energy broadcast for the physical and non-physical transference. Then, to take all that excess energy, give it the very barrel end of the projection, are 2 pieces of faceted rose quartz. Rose quartz, just like morganite, is a lovely, famous pink ray love stimulant. So taking all this energy mentioned thus far to be the focus of the device, if you would, it takes that excess energy and grounds the energy of the love broadcast, as an example, grounding to my tree buddy back here. So it takes all the energy like I mentioned, and that is the barrel focus of the broadcast, is that divine love. So that would be just about the entire description of the wand attended to. Going to make sure I didn't miss anything. This thing is rather complex to fully discuss. That would be the entirety of the lightblade wand and talisman discussed in the crystalline ignition order just by itself. Okay, so I'm circling back to some cosmetic aspects. So right here, once this video is concluded and all these crystals are notarized, I'll be cutting this white leather to appropriate size to work as the hood of the talisman, which will actually have multiple purposes more than aesthetics. So the aspect of the white ray, of course, makes a nice 7-ray diffusion of the full emanation of light, as well as it will insulate this entire section right here to condense the energy through the entire structure, and also it will work to protect these stones and keep them very secure for the long journey they have ahead as they live happily ever after with their recipient, basically. So there's many purposes more than just aesthetics for this. It actually is a functional part of like the hood, if you would, of this device to kind of give a concept right there. That's more or less what it will look like in its completion phase. And just like down here, this has already been cut to appropriate size of being the main hood for this engine down here. So once this video is concluded, all these frequencies are notarized, that's where this will be installed. And I didn't mention this guy, I want to save this for last, because this is a very simplistic lateral band of just hematite and clear quartz to once again be a strong grounding agent, like hematite found in the transportation ratio, to ground all this energy through the earth, as well as clear quartz being a natural neutral accelerant of the frequency, which will serve as a great grounding point for the other iconography that's been augmented that will be mentioned. Once that's all said and done, this is installed in proper size. This very fantastic sacrogeometric badging found right here will be installed, grounded into this clear quartz hematite structure with these excess wires seen right here to, of course, be part of the perpetual momentum of the structure's vibration, and into the transmutation band, which will basically run its own sub-circuit in a circular ignition sequence of the impeccable green ray, which of course is very much an honor and perfect tandem to having such a heavy high heart pink ray divine love emanation. Having the green ray in contrast focus through this device will be a very perfect complementary power pack, like a subroutine if you would, consisting of once again prehnite, which I mentioned in great detail on all these devices, clear quartz to be a neutral accelerant, then into legendary emerald. Emerald is actually the cousin to morganite, a little more famous due to its utilization by royalty for thousands of years, and it being a very legendary version of the beryl family that's well notarized as the prominent green ray. So emerald is perhaps one of the more powerful green ray stimulants based on its hardness of oftentimes 8.5 out of 10, the hardness scale, and hence the stone of royalty and great notoriety, as well as a true precious stone that has stood the test of time for a good reason. So as the quintessential green ray heart abundance frequency that works in perfect tandem with the essential love abundance frequency. So you can think of that being a very terrestrial and then a more, I guess, extraterrestrial or higher spiritual ramification of the abundance of divine love opposed to more terrestrial love. So obviously that has it covered with this antithesis. Then going into clear quartz, then into the lovely peridot, like previously mentioned back here, about almost an hour ago now. Then going into clear quartz, then into prehnite, then so on for that ignition sequence. So once that, of course, is concluded, and like I mentioned, this will be fully installed, properly measured, and like so, this will be grounded into this transmutation band, which of course naturally runs for the entire broadcast, as well as this grounding neutral accelerant band to further ground and intensify the natural ambient amplification of this guy in a circuit. And not to mention, it's on one of the most impeccable sacrogeometric compilations I've ever utilized that I'm tremendously enthused by. Having the foundation of the flower of life represented here and running a circuit around it is quite powerful, because that is the fundamental building blocks of our creation of Earth and all of reality as we know it in all spectrums. So having that sacrogeometric platform is really advantageous to put one into the divine love spectrum or the aspect of abiding in the self. Then to make it even better, some genius put the the ohm and bows on top of that to have the combination of the quintessential connection to creation frequency. So that combination I've utilized quite a few many times now. Thank goodness it's locally available to me. And it's been a tremendous sacrogeometric boost to these entire device frequency pitch of the codes running through these devices. So that's a little aspect about that guy. And this is a very special little thing right here. So at the behest of the recipient, a crane was requested to be part of the device due to when we spoke over this device for consultation, actually a crane kept showing up at his house and kept making the presence known. So the crane was quite essential. So luckily, I was able to find a medicine badging of a crane found right here. But what makes it even better is that it's a perfect complementary pink ray frequency named rhodonite. Rhodonite is an incredible, of course, pink ray conducive to love frequency broadcast with a little black in it, which makes a very grounded connotation. So the pink ray of rhodonite brings a very strong altruistic projective stimulation, or you can basically think of it as a very service oriented out of love, frequency grounded into the earth, the black ray earth connotations. So this is a great stone of generosity, altruism, as well as one using one's highest gift in service to creation. So a tremendously amazing pink ray stone that naturally will be very complementary to the heavy pink ray focus of this device's primary blade banding. So that's a very fun, amazing story of serendipity at its finest, of looking for a certain badging of a crane, then literally finding it in its perfect complementary altruistic projective pink ray focus. I couldn't make that up. So that was very amazing. So of course that will be installed on the other side of the hood when this guy's installed. Then to of course have an homage to the archangelic forces is a very simplistic pendant of Michael the Archangel, the chief Kohen, and of course the head of the archangels, to be quite simple and judgmental and pragmatic about the situation. So the aspect of having even a small homage indication of Michael the Archangel in tandem with the crane will be a very powerful way to, of course, be a talisman resonance to the archangelic force of Michael. And that would be everything discussed in all the components in only about 1 hour and 49 seconds. Okay, that's not bad, considering there's so much ground to cover between these two devices in tandem. Okay, so in summary, this platform device of abiding in the self-divine love has been designed to be a very intensive, high-frequency divine love generator that will be in the great service of the recipient to, of course, have weaponized love on tap in its most impeccable format that can pass through my hands of this timeline to live happily ever after them with divine love and bring tremendous frequency broadcast focus of that concentration of divine love in creation. As well as one thing I did omit about the Morganite, to be very specific, is that it is claimed to be the quintessential soulmate attractor based on its very intensive divine love emanation. So to emanate with that frequency, of course, brings a very high threshold of divine love in one's reality. At least that is what they say in many different aspects of research, as well as actually that's what I experienced in my life when I met my angel over, and that was it. So that's a fun fact about Morganite I did omit in the initiatory discussions. But yes, back to the summary. So having the talisman variation of that exact frequency discussed compatible will be easily worn, ideally, on the self to, of course, abide in the self and to have a very strong closed-loop emanation working in tandem frequency-wise, running throughout the entire auric field to a very high divine life configuration, as well as being a very complex device of theurgy, or magic, I guess you could say. And then, of course, the wand itself is designed to be a very intensive version of that for broadcasting that aspect with the focalizers to intensify one's prayers and discharge the broadcast throughout creation, and to work in tandem with the higher self resonance, since these guys at their best are consciousness-assisted technologies that work in resonance with your higher self fully manifest intangibility on the 3D operating system. So that's the aspect also these guys both employ, is the service to the highest self in service to creation is the prerogative of these two devices. And I believe that'd be enough of a rant for one video. On that note, 1,000 blessings, and may the force be with us all.